Hello everyone and welcome to Community Spotlight, exclusively here on Astound ATVN. So glad you could join us. I'm Dan Mowdy. Well, the Lehigh Valley has a lot of culture and a lot of history, and we're very blessed to have amazing museums and cultural centers. One of them is Northampton County Historical and Genealogical Society. They have some really long time architecture, and they've got a lot of history inside of their walls. We're very happy to have with us to start things off the Executive Director of Northampton County Historical and Genealogical Society, Megan Van Ravensway. Megan, welcome back to Community Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
Also joining us, Andrew Glovis. He is the Director of Operations for this amazing organization. And Andrew, welcome to Community Spotlight.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Sure thing. There's so much to talk about here. This is really an amazing organization. Megan, if you can start us off, based in Easton, it sounds like, but covering the entire county of Northampton.
Yes, great question. Indeed, we are the Northampton County Historical and Genealogical Society. We're the official historical society for the entire county. So while we're based in Easton and our historic structures and our library are in Easton, we get to cover the entire beautiful Northampton County, from everywhere from Nazareth to Bethlehem to Easton, and agricultural points throughout the county.
Fantastic. Now, you're kind enough to also be a guest for an upcoming show on Lehigh Valley 250. And Easton and Northampton County play a significant role in the founding of the United States of America.
You're absolutely right. And if you keep talking like that, you'll become a docent at the museum. We'll bring you on. But indeed, we're so happy to highlight all the history, especially in 2026. But every day we like to talk about the history in the county. But 2026 is a very exciting time for us, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And for visitors who come to one of your properties there, can you help us out with what are some of the things that they should come for, and some of the things that maybe they might not expect to learn?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd be happy to jump in on that. We have 3 historic properties as well as the Sigel Museum. So there's the Bachman Public House, the Mikesell Illick House, and the Jacob Nicholas House. We also have a pocket garden in Easton. It's a nice little spot for respite in the city. And then we offer a whole mess of other programs, events. We have the Jane S. Moyer Library and Archives as well, which is a hub of genealogical information and research specific to our region, both for families past and events of the past as well.
Fantastic. You know, so many times when you think about a genealogical society or a historic society, you think about indoor spaces, but you actually have a few outdoor, and the garden sounds amazing. I mean, has this been a gathering place for many, many years?
We've had it for several years. We try to plant mostly native plants in it, but it is a nice little green space available, open to the public. It's a great place to grab a cup of coffee, sit down with a good book, and read for a few hours.
Nice, nice. And speaking of reading, research is a big part of being a historical society, I would imagine. I know a friend of mine from school days is doing research on his mom, who he found out was an orphan, and trying to trace her background, is visiting many different areas with historical societies and genealogical societies. But you do a lot for folks doing research, it sounds like.
We sure do. Folks can even just hop onto our website, which is sigelmuseum.org, S-I-G-A-L museum.org, and there's a link there to the Jane S. Moyer Library and Archives. So like you said, if you're an amateur genealogist or if you're a professional reporter and you want to come over and do some research with us, you can just shoot in an email, and our volunteer team would be happy to let you know what's in the collection. And that's our reading room, that's our library space, but that's also our collections and our archives.
Fantastic, fantastic. It's so cool when you can say that you have locations still in good, actually great condition from pre-colonial or colonial days, pre-Revolutionary War days. And Bachman Public House kind of grabs my interest because that qualifies. And talk about gathering places, that was the place, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Built in 1753 originally, so predates the United States. It's a gorgeous example of colonial architecture. We just put a brand new cedar shake roof on it, so it's period appropriate. we're constantly doing maintenance and repairs to make sure it's in tip-top condition. And visitors enjoy it, and it also helps preserve these pieces. Because we talk about it all the time, the buildings are part of our collection as well. It's not just the things inside of them, but the actual structures themselves.
Are there any doorways that I would have to duck under, because I'm always interested in colonial places that are so, built?
Bachman's not too bad. The Jacob Nicholas House, it's a bank house. It is very small. It holds a dear place in our heart, but Bachman is probably the gem of our historic properties, definitely.
Yeah, and it's right there. I mean, in Center City Easton, Northampton Street's the main drag, and there it is. And it really, it's an amazing, it catches your eye every time.
Thank you so much. And people can come out 4 days a week, Thursday through Sunday, to come and visit the site. And we even have a museum store, but our friendly team there will provide folks with a guided tour of the entire structure.
Nice, nice. And the expanded hours are really something too. I remember we talked about when I first moved here, you really had to find when it was going to be open, but now way more availability to visit. Lehigh Valley 250 is a big part of the focus right now for a lot of organizations, similar, like-minded organizations as well. Tell us a little bit about this Passport to History, which has become so big.
Sure. So it's something that our organization founded, and we currently chair it. It was founded over probably 12 years ago now. But what we are is we're a group of local historical societies, museums, archives. Believe it or not, there's 77 of us. Nine different counties, 2 different states, New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And what we're doing is we're getting together monthly. So we work on maybe joint programs, joint activities. Maybe we'll do grants together and collaborate, and maybe teacher training for Act 48 credits. So folks can hop over to lvhistory.org for a list of activities on presentation from Passport to History.
That sounds outstanding. Well, Megan and Andrew, thank you so much for getting things started here today. You were kind enough to bring more staff members as well. We'll be talking with them here in just a few moments about some of the wonderful treasures that you'll find with the Northampton County Historical and Genealogical Society. Stay here on Community Spotlight. And you're back with us here on Community Spotlight. So glad you could join us. The Northampton County Historical and Genealogical Society is in focus today. And we want to bring on a couple of folks who find full-time employment there and do a great job with the archives and the events that go on there, and there are plenty of those. Sarah White is the Community Engagement Coordinator. Sarah, welcome to Community Spotlight.
Thanks so much for having us.
And also joining us is Tim Betts. He is the Curator of Exhibitions.
Thanks for having us.
With the organization. Sure thing, Tim, absolutely. Let's start out with this great exhibit that's going on. I think anybody who's had anything to do with the media, even if you once had a newspaper subscription, you probably want to go to this exhibit. It's called Read This, The History of Media in Northampton County. And it's a rich tradition, I would imagine. It sounds like there are a lot of artifacts already in-house to choose from.
Absolutely. Yeah, so this is an exhibit that looks at the print world starting at the time of the American Revolution. The things people are reading in Northampton County, the things they're talking about, the way they're sending letters to each other, the information, the power of information and misinformation, and what that world looked like. And really, our goal with it is to talk about that moment of the revolution as an event that was people lived through, right? And they experienced the uncertainty, the terror, the, what could possibly happen at the next moment. And we're really using that to talk about the idea of media as something we engage with today, right? Because really, that world our revolutionary ancestors were living in is very similar to ours today.
Yes, absolutely. So many different takes that could be taken from the title alone, but what were some of the focuses that you guys kind of drilled down on as far as what you would like to portray and relay to the audiences?
So it's definitely the things that people encountered, right? So some things that are in there that are really, I think, evocative are these like printed documents that an 18th century printer would use, right? Like money or blank forms. We even have one that's signed by Benjamin Franklin. But it ranges anywhere from those forms from the 18th century to really an important document we're showcasing is the 1780 Register for Enslaved Persons for Northampton County.
Wow.
That was part of Pennsylvania's gradual emancipation, to talk about how documents, information could also be used as a tool of power and violence. So it's really an expansive exhibit that talks about many things.
Absolutely. And I understand that there are some interactive elements to the display and exhibit as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, so there is a working printing press, right, that people can use. I think there's some joy in pulling that lever and having it go. And we're using a deep fake, this kind of artificial intelligence created video that was made by people at MIT that shows Nixon giving the speech he would have given if the Apollo 11 astronauts died on the moon.
Wow.
So something that very much didn't happen, but people are watching it happen there on TV, which I think is very powerful. Yep.
So is it script or is it video or?
It's both. It's
Really?
It's video. You're watching Nixon. It's the real speech that was written for him in 1969.
Oh my goodness!
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is it him rehearsing it or actually giving
Real.
it and
It
recording
it is artificially generated. It's a computer made it. Yep.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Interesting. Yes, a big difference and a great point of comparison too, I would think. Media then, media now.
Yep. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As far as print to digital, it seems like a lot of tradition maybe is lost on maybe later generations as far as like paper boys and delivery and the delay in getting the information. I would imagine those are some of the intriguing aspects of the exhibit.
Absolutely. Yes. This whole shift, but also the similarities that stay over time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. As far as the differences, the role of museums play as far as portraying what it was like back then. Tell us a little bit about the take on that angle.
Sure. So I always like to think of museums and exhibits, and in my own work, how we interpret those exhibits as part of a conversation. So a museum exhibit is not just something you look at an artifact, you say, oh wow, that's nice, so glad I saw it, and then you go home and then you don't think about it, right?
Yeah.
The point is that our job is that we have to make that meaningful for our guests, for our audiences. So a lot of what we do, programming around those kinds of themes, thinks about what does this exhibit mean in my daily life today? What does it matter that someone in the 18th or 19th century writing a letter to their brother who's halfway around the world, what does that mean for me today?
Yeah. I mean, and even how you approach a letter like that, knowing that there's going to be a big delay in
Right.
its arrival, hopeful arrival at its destination, if it makes it. You guys mentioned Ben Franklin as being a big part of the media of his time. I know he was involved with printing presses and the U.S. mail, and that's pretty significant. And being this close to Philadelphia, I would imagine there was some spillover to this region.
Absolutely. We know Benjamin Franklin visits Easton before the Revolution.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's kind of this idea of, and I think what I'm proud of the exhibit, and I think what we tell very well in our organization, it's the story of people like Ben Franklin, people like George Taylor, our local founding father, right? But also the story of regular people that aren't as talked about or as well documented, right? These important untold stories of the time of the Revolution.
Yeah, fantastic. I understand there'll be a guest lecturer. Speaking of, hey, where's my paper?
Yes.
As a former paper boy, I heard that a lot.
Okay. Yes, so this will be Saturday, October 11th at 1 p.m. We are joined by a gentleman named Al Kratzer, who was a former publisher with the Easton Express, which has recently, or not so recently, we are in late 2025 now, hard to believe, when it ceased print edition, he was working behind the scenes. So he is going to speak about the goings on behind the scenes. What does it actually mean when a paper ceases a print edition? Not only the technical aspects, the publisher aspects, but what does that mean for community as well?
Yeah.
And not just folks who get the paper, but for small advertisers or folks where if you're doing business with someone and you know that your clientele relies on the newspaper, what does that mean for a whole community?
Right. I mean, maybe not the headlines or the front page, but newspapers had classified ads and they had public notices. And how do you handle that today?
Definitely.
It's a really good study. We want to mention the website for finding out more about this wonderful exhibit. Again, it's called Read This, The History of Media in Northampton County, currently running, and a good long run too, I believe.
Till next July, yes.
Next July, excellent. But get there now, because chances are it'll evolve as time goes on. SigelMuseum.org, that's one of the properties for Northampton County Historical and Genealogical. That's Sigel, S-I-G-A-L, museums, Sigel Museum, singular.org. Sarah and Tim, thank you so much for telling us about the exhibit. I can't wait to see it myself. It sounds intriguing. Coming up, we'll have more on this wonderful organization, Northampton County Historical and Genealogical Society. Stay with us on Community Spotlight. And we're taking a trip through the ages, especially of Northampton County in Pennsylvania. The Northampton County Historical and Genealogical Society is in center focus for this show. Sarah rejoins us. She's the Community Engagement Coordinator for the organization, and now joined by Community Engagement Associate Emma Hartman. Emma, welcome to Community Spotlight. So good to have you. We're gonna be traveling here for this segment, it sounds like, because there's so much to do in Northampton County. It's Easton, yes, but there is so much more to it. And it's going to require a little bit of mobility, which you guys have worked into the program. Nicely done. We'll start off with the Erie Easton Walking Tours.
Sure.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about
Great
those.
place to start. So Erie Easton, we bill it as everything that the more suspicious, let's say, or the more mysterious things that have happened in Easton's past. That's the most polite way that I can say that.
So we're not walking from Erie, Pennsylvania to Easton, Pennsylvania.
I would not recommend doing that, no. But we focus on the documented historical things that have happened in Easton. So, for example, a lot of the material that I relied on was trial documents and trial transcripts. We have two cases, one from 1833 and one from 1876, that, let's just say, the legal outcome of those was so drastic it changed the course of the Pennsylvania judicial system.
Really?
Yes.
Who knew?
I can't give any spoilers. I'm not sure I can say that on air. Yes.
Especially as timely as the information is these days. But no, that's cool. That would get a lot of folks to come to find out for sure. So the tour was written using archival materials?
Yes, I would say most of what we have is from our archives, the Jane S. Moyer Library and archives housed in the Sigel Museum. Much of it also comes from, I got some material from the Bar Association. They were really helpful with a lot of transcripts. Library of Congress with their open use policy photos. But everything, I have to stress that everything is documented. It has source material.
Yeah.
This is not a ghost tour or a Halloween tour.
Yeah.
So I'm not concerned if someone today thinks something is haunted. What I'm interested in and what I want guests to take out of it is that someone was writing into the paper, again, the newspaper, ironically enough, in the early 20th century saying they might have been seeing things.
Oh my goodness, wow, interesting admission there. And you say Easton's history was colorful. I can only imagine.
Great way to say that, yes.
Very good. For those that would prefer having wheels beneath them rather than doing a walking tour, you've got that covered with this new guided bus tour.
Yes, this is a brand new tour that we are getting excited to launch starting next month. It begins in November of this year and runs through all of 2026.
Nice.
And it is titled In Search of the Declaration. So this is a historic bus tour that starts in Easton, which is one of the sites where the Declaration of Independence was read on July 8th, 1776. And then we get a lovely behind-the-scenes tour of the Read This exhibition and then hop on the bus and hit Trenton and Philadelphia, which are the other two sites where the Declaration was read simultaneously on July 8th.
Ah, that's outstanding. And will the readings be at the same time, do you know? Has that been planned out this far ahead of time?
We're not reenacting the readings on this tour. So in
gotcha.
Easton, we reenact the reading every year on Heritage Day, which comes a little bit after Independence Day, but the bus tour is going to be really interesting because we're actually going to go see sites where different signers of the Declaration lived or wrote or worked, and really understand the communities that shaped the Declaration of Independence and then the communities that were then impacted and shaped in turn by the Declaration of Independence.
Wow. Very nice take on that, absolutely. And the understanding of local heritage really comes into play, I understand, on this tour.
Yes, so, you know, Declaration of Independence unfolds on a national scale, but so much of how that unfolds happens on these very local levels. So you see, you know, George Taylor, Easton's signer of the Declaration of Independence, but then we also see like members of Christ Church in Philadelphia and how the Declaration of Independence impacted that congregation and their community on the day-to-day level.
Nice, and I see there's a focus on education, but with storytelling in mind, which is always a great way to learn history.
Yes, so we always strive to have our guests learn something and come away still thinking about, you know, what they learned on the trip, but have fun while they're doing it.
Very good, well done. Bus tour, making it, I would imagine, pretty inclusive for everybody of all mobility levels and ages.
Yeah, so trying to make it as easy as possible for anyone who wants to get on the bus. Our wonderful friendly guides will take you throughout the whole day. You get behind the scenes access to all of the sites, and really from families, seniors, kids, anyone who wants to join us, I think will have a great time.
Sounds wonderful. We're showing the contact information if you'd like to learn more, even after the show. SigelMuseum.org is a great place to start. We get finally to something that I've been really itching to find out more about, the Prohibition Tour.
Oh, goodness.
You mean there were drinkers in the Northampton County, Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania?
Boy, were there. Let's say Easton at one point was billed as being 100 miles from Broadway. So often a lot of folks would leave the less reputable places, let's say in New York, and would travel down to Easton at night.
Oh,
so there were folks in Easton whose job it was to get you to those places in Easton. So we visit sites that include former speakeasies, former, let's say, houses of ill repute. We have, I would say, at least 10 different places that we visit on that tour.
That sounds intriguing. Exploring Easton's darker side, I see. And that attracts both folks here and from a wide area around us, I guess all the way to New York and beyond, I would think.
Right. We do have folks come from everywhere. A lot of times it's folks visiting family or they're in on vacation. And I will say as well that all NCHGS members do receive free admission to our walking tours and a pretty good discount on the bus tours as well.
Nice. That's the Prohibition Tours. Find out more at SigelMuseum.org. Well, I want to thank Sarah and Emma for being our guests here in our third segment, and all of your co-workers as well for doing a great job here.
Thank you so kindly.
Led by Megan. Thanks again for telling us all that's going on at Northampton County Historical and Genealogical Society. Hope you get to enjoy some of that, folks. I'm Dan Mowdy. Thank you for joining us tonight on Community Spotlight. Good night, everyone.